On today's video, I'd like to go over driving tactics. This is for entertainment purposes only, not instructional. And the first item I'd like to talk about are seat belts. Seat belts keep you in your seat, obviously. They restrain you during an impact. But also, when you're driving at a high rate of speed, or you're trying to maneuver in and out of vehicles or get around a threat, that seat belt is keeping you in a center position. So then your hands are the only thing you need to worry about moving. You don't have to worry about trying to move back in the seat. Number two is fuel. Either your fuel tank, gasoline, diesel, whatever that might be, or an electric battery for your EV, keeping that half. So keeping your battery half charged, keeping your tank not getting below half. This gives you distance, which I think is obvious that everyone realizes. It also gives you time. It gives you time to not go a direct route away from a situation. And it also gives you time to evade a situation and then stop and think. It also gives you a chance in time to be stuck in traffic. Say you're trying to evacuate a city due to a hurricane or some other situation. That means that you're not stuck having to look for a gas station. Typically, with most vehicles, at least the ones I deal with, or electric cars, well, let me take that back. So most vehicles that are gasoline or diesel, you can usually get about 500 miles a tank. With highway speeds, that's usually a solid round number. And with electric, if you're looking, most average, I think at this point, is 250 miles up to just below 400. And that'll give you obviously less time and less distance, but the more you keep that battery at half at least, then that gives you more of an opportunity to move or think or change what you're trying to do. The next thing is locking your car doors. Most cars at this point in time do that automatically. If your car does not, it's a good habit to get into of just getting in your car, locking the doors, and then going about your day where you're going to go. Because when you pull up and stop your vehicle at either a stop sign or a stoplight, and if a threat's tactics are to walk up to your door and pull the door handle and either get in the car and present some kind of weapon and then get you to do something that they want you to do, or to open the driver door and just get you out of the car and take your car. And the easiest way to prevent that is just lock your car doors. That gives you, again, time. That's all security is time. And it gives you the opportunity, if you hear someone open your car door or attempt to open your car door, it can give you that little half second extra to see what's going on and then get away from the situation. Number 4 are safety glasses. Clear or tinted, or clear and tinted, depending on the time of day or whatever you're doing. Your sunglasses holder, usually most of us carry our sunglasses, I do, with me when I leave the car because it's still sunny when I get out of the car. But keeping an extra pair of sunglasses in the car is very helpful. And if they're safety glasses, then it gives you that extra layer of protection. And they're good for many, many reasons. But if you're in a situation where you're having to evacuate, or there is a threat that someone's trying to come to the car, like a big group, and you are in the wrong spot at the wrong time, and a mob is coming around, getting some glasses on, even though it seems trivial, will give you something. So if those windows do break out, it'll prevent the glass from going in your eyes, prevent sand or whatever else is outside the car from getting in your eyes, so that you can still see, and that's not hindering your ability to get out of a situation. The next thing I like to talk about is space in your car. And I'm going to try and demonstrate this on this board. You want to have space where your vehicle is. So let's say that, this is you driving, and let's say this is a lane on the road, and you're coming up, and here's your stoplight. And as you come up to the stoplight, there's already a car here. And you want to make sure you don't need to be, you don't have to be one of those people that are going to have, 4 car lengths in front of them. But what you do need is to know the ability of your vehicle, and you need to know how much space you need to be able to turn hard and get out of a situation. So if either one of these sides is all traffic, but one of them is, the right side sidewalk, or this side is opposing lane and you can go over a median, you want to be able to have enough space here that you can turn and then leave the situation. And that's going to be very different. So that means that you're going to have to know your vehicle. So that could be, you really do need 4 car lengths because maybe you don't have power steering, whatever the situation might be. Or it could be really short. Maybe you have a smart car or one of those small little pickup trucks, where the engine's underneath, where you don't have to have a lot of space in front because your wheelbase, your turning radius is right below your seat. Another thing to watch out for are silhouettes. This obviously is going to be in the daytime or if a dome light happens to be on. But if you're sitting at a stoplight and the car in front of you, all of a sudden there's a bunch of movement, or you see people trying to, start to move from the center of the car to the doors, or you see the driver leaning toward his door more aggressively, like he's going to try and open it, you definitely need to make sure that you're paying attention and that all of your senses are kind of on high alert, because that's your warning sign that something might be about to happen. And you might not have to, someone might move a lot. Doesn't mean you have to get paranoid and freak out, but you do need to take that opportunity that if someone in front of you or to the side of your car or in your rearview mirror, the car's behind you, if there's a lot of movement all of a sudden and you're at a stoplight or a stop sign, just remember that could be a threat trying to get out of the car, or numerous people getting out of a car to then do something to your car, the car next to you or behind you. And if you start to see that car door open and you're in the middle of an intersection or middle, stoplight, that's very uncommon. It does happen sometimes, I understand that, but it's very rare. So you need to be in that situation ready to leave that area. This next one is very contingent on local law. So again, this whole video is for entertainment purposes only. I want to just reiterate that. If you have the ability to protect yourself with whatever means you think is best and necessary, you need to make sure that you are able to retrieve your defense option while you are seated and seat belted into your vehicle, because it's not going to do any good if you have on you a self-defense option and you've locked your doors and that's great, and all of a sudden someone's trying to break in your window and they get through. It's not going to do you any good if you cannot turn and have access to your self-defense item that you have chosen per local law. So you need to practice being able to seated and seat belted in, get your self-defense option of choice out if legally available, and also that you're not taking that moment to put something in that device that would be in a magazine otherwise. So you need to make sure that your defense option that you choose is ready to go as soon as you pull it. This next one is about vehicle blocking, and this doesn't mean you have to be in a motorcade or some kind of caravan. This is just for everyday life and something to think about that could help prevent you being in an accident or some other higher threat situation, but mainly accidents. So if we come here, so say this is your road you want to come down, and you've got, your intersection coming up. So let's treat this kind of like your intersection, here. So we'll do that. All right, so you have your vehicle here and you want to go straight. And say this is another line of cars coming. So you have cars that are here and they are also wanting to go straight, but they have their stoplight, right? And they have a red light. So instead of you going and being the first car to floor it and try and, get through because you're in a hurry because you didn't plan well, what you should do is, if there is a 4-lane or 6-lane, whatever it is, but you have another vehicle that's here, right? They also want to go straight. So take the half a second to let this car go forward. And as this car is going forward, now this car has moved up here and they are no longer here. I hope that makes sense. And as you start to go forward and pull through, and you are now going forward, right? So your vehicle is now up here. If this vehicle doesn't see this red light because they don't stop, this vehicle is now a blocker for this. So this car, this threat will now hit this vehicle instead of hitting your car. So just like in a motorcade situation or whatever you want to do, is you want to have that kind of onion ring around you. And it doesn't have to be that you know them, but you're still using them as an asset as you're going about your daily life. So that's option one. So similar situation, say you're wanting to turn. This is the same thing. And I know in some places you can turn, and there's just different situations. So in this specific situation, there's gonna be something similar. So say you have 2 lanes of traffic here, you are here, and the light is green, or it was red and just turned green. Again, if you just wait that half second to turn into this lane, right? So if a car is coming this way and they're going this direction, but they don't stop for the red light, if you wait, again, just a half second longer to make sure this vehicle, so say this is 2 lanes, give this vehicle just enough time to start to go forward so that if this vehicle doesn't stop, they're going to hit this car instead of hitting you. And it only takes, it's a very short amount of time. It does not take long at all. But that short half second, when you're in a holiday weekend or something, everyone's going crazy, just take that extra half second, let the cars around you start moving, and make sure you have some kind of moving buffer. Same thing in a threat. So say you have people coming down the street and they're trying to do a bunch of damage to cars while you're all stopped, something like that. Use that moment to make sure there's some kind of vehicle where you can move. So if someone starts being an airborne threat at that point, then you have something physical, which might not be a solid cover, but it's something more than air, and that would give you time to get your vehicle around, and it would be a physical barrier they'd have to get through. The next item is our people threats in a group. So I think everyone can agree that there have been a lot of mob mentality situations in the last year. This is 2021, and definitely a few years before now. You have to watch for big groups of people because you might not know where you're about to drive into. So this kind of ties a few of these items together, where you always need a way to get your vehicle out of a situation. You need to keep avenues open, whether they're unusual avenues. So whether it's a park or a road in opposing traffic or whatever it might be, that you give yourself an option to get out. Because if a group starts walking down the street, down the sidewalk, and something in your gut says something's wrong, you need to listen to your gut. Now, weigh it against some options. If all of a sudden your gut says something's wrong, make sure it's not just because it's been really quiet unless there's a big group, but they're gone and they're just, you know, on the sidewalk talking to each other. If they're scoping out the traffic, pointing at cars, or, you know, walking through with, you know, baseball bats and machetes, obviously you need to kind of gauge what's going on. So you need to always keep that buffer when you're driving. Always kind of look at those side lanes and give yourself an option to get out, because your threat might not be a vehicle, and it might not be one person that's trying to run up and just carjack someone. It might be a full mob, and you need to make sure that you are watching that as a situation. Lastly, what I'd like to cover is another option for getting out of a situation, but also pre-planning as you're driving. So I'm going to use this again because I tried racing it and I couldn't get it to go away. So we're going to pretend, again, this is your intersection. You've got traffic going this way, you've got traffic going this way. As you are approaching this intersection, you want to be looking down this line. Say if you're in the left lane, you want to look down this line to look on the ground for those direction posts or signs that cities have for where to go, what's coming up, street signs, that kind of thing. But you also want to look for, what some people might not know, is those signs are designed to break away. So if there's a vehicle that's coming and that vehicle is coming down the road and all of a sudden it hits that sign and breaks it off, there's a bracket. If next time you look, there's a bracket on the ground, whether it's, you know, the cobblestone or the brick or whatever it might be, that has a little space, and that space is designed to break away. So when you're going and there's an impact that's going to break, the bottom of that is designed to stay there while the sign breaks off. So then they can come back. They don't have to drill new holes or do new concrete. They take these 3 bolts off, put a new sign down, put 3 new bolts on, and you're done. So just something to look at is if you're driving down the street and you're kind of you know, pre-planning, you know, second nature kind of stuff, just use that to glance around and look, and is there a sign base that's there? There's no sign, but there might be a sign base that if you needed to move, all of a sudden it's going to just shred your tires, and now you're worse off than you were before. You know, now you really can't go anywhere because now your tires are shredded and you're just stuck. So you always want to make sure to look for those. The reason I bring that up is because they're very common in the States, and they are broken, you know, fairly often. And you always want to just look for that kind of stuff. You know, you could go over a lot of obstacles, but those kind of things have sharp metal edges. So you just want to watch out for those kind of sign bases or anything else that might be there. As you're turning, you know, just keep a kind of look on the ground. Can you go left? Can you go right? Is there a hole there? You know, are they doing construction on the street? Just kind of keep an eye on that kind of stuff. Thank you for watching this entertainment only vehicle driving tactics, and I hope this is helpful.